Hi folks, welcome to Public Speaking as Advocacy Chapter 1. Today we're going to take a look at a few concepts. We're going to address what public speaking is, discuss communication ethics, review contextual and cultural competencies, and acknowledge apprehension and discuss how to combat it. So, two of my favorite quotes about public speaking. One is from the ancient Greek philosopher that says, "We have two ears and one mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." So often in a public speaking course, students are surprised by the different skills that we work on, specifically listening and nonverbal communication. So public speaking is about so much more than standing in front of a crowd of people you don't know, delivering a speech that you've written for a class. It's about using your voice to advocate for others, and that's what this text is all going to talk about. I also really like this quote by Tony Robbins that says, "To effectively communicate, we must realize that we are all different in the ways that we perceive the world. Our understanding of the world is shaped by our experiences and our perspectives. And so our ability to send messages is impacted by the differences that we have in one another. And the better we are able to walk in someone else's shoes, the stronger our communication skills are going to become." And so public speaking is easy as pie. PIE is an acronym that is great for the different purposes and reasons that we might use our voice to advocate for others. One is to persuade, another is to inform, and the final is to entertain. And again, you can remember those things by just thinking that public speaking is easy as pie. So let's stop and take a minute here to reflect. Why does public speaking matter in our daily lives? Think about all the times that you use it in a classroom setting, in a professional setting. We use it to communicate with our family members, to advocate with doctors or other professionals that we engage with all the time. Public speaking is our voice, our way to share our ideas with others and to connect with others. So keep thinking about all those different ways that you use speaking and communication in your daily life. Now, there are several benefits to public speaking, but here's just a general overview. Obviously, there's personal benefits. We are asked to deliver toasts and celebratory messages with family, with friends at commemorative activities. Unfortunately, that also includes eulogies. We use public speaking in volunteer work and in anything that fulfills our roles in our family and our community. In the public, we are constantly asked to listen and critically think about public issues, form opinions, participate in civic engagement. If we're stronger communicators and better listeners, we're able to discern information and make choices that are best for us, for our families, for our community. And then we use it in our professional setting as well. Over 70% of jobs involve some form of public speaking. And when you are an effective communicator, often that allows you to get promoted, to receive special opportunities, and it makes you more attractive to employers in general. And so when we think about public speaking as an advocacy piece, public speaking allows us to promote a cause or idea. It allows us to take actions towards goals, whether they're ours personally or for the greater good, and it allows us to generate solutions to problems that we might have. And when you're advocating for others, it's important to remember or causes themselves to think about ethical ways to do that. Are we giving clear and objective information? Are our messages constructed in a way that is effective for people to understand our message? So when we think about ethics and making good decisions and informed decisions, we want to make sure that we are coding our messages in those ways. Now, there are a lot of different communication theories that we will talk about throughout this course. I wanted to give you the basics of the linear communication model and the transactional model of communication. To understand how a message is sent, we need to understand the basics. And so the linear model of communication actually was coined in 1949 by Shannon and Weaver, and it's about the idea that a sender sends a message in the channel or the speaking context to a receiver. Now, sometimes in a classroom setting, especially in a video setting, I'm currently the sender sending a message through YouTube to you, the receiver. But so much of our communication extends beyond that. So the transactional model of communication was coined in 2008, but it's definitely something we've been studying for a very long time. And this is about how a sender encodes a message to the receiver who decodes it and then sends that feedback back. So a communication is a loop, a cycle that is constantly changing, reinventing. The message might go back and forth in different locations, but unfortunately, we have cultural and social contexts that make that communication break down sometimes. We also have noise, whether that's internal in our minds or external as well. And so where does the communication happen? Well, again, a channel is very simple. That's the message in which the means in which the message travels. It could be electronic. It could be in person. It could be in writing. So there's so many different places for communication to occur. Noise refers to any interference that might impact our ability to, as receivers, to receive and accurately decode that message. Now, when it comes to barriers, there's physiological, so there's physical, hunger, inability to hear, illness, those kinds of things. Psychological, there could be some sort of mental or emotional distraction, a lot on your to-do list. Physical is the actual sound level. I once taught a speech class in a location where next door they were doing construction, and it was loud a lot of the times, and that was a physical barrier to our listening. And then cultural differences and perspectives. So as speakers, as communicators, it is our job to effectively encode the message. And I like to think of encoding and decoding as like those decoder rings where you're trying to make sure that you code something clearly so that someone can receive your message. And so the encoding is the job of the sender and the decoding is the receiver. And that's us going back and forth to make sure that we understand the messages that we hear. Now, nonverbal and verbal communication. Nonverbal is gestures. Nonverbal includes our tone of voice, our facial expressions, our appearances. Verbal is the actual words that we speak or write. And all of those become messages that are interpreted by others. Now, communication is contextual, which means that it happens in a specific time and place. A lot of times there's historical or cultural context that impact the understanding of the message or how the message is constructed. There are delivery and thinking about specific audiences. When I talk to adults and I'm teaching adults, I might teach them differently than I would if I was working with a class of first graders. And so delivery to that audience, it should be audience specific. And it can occur at a specific time for a specific purpose too. Now, communication is also cultural. It affects our perceptions based on our language, our rituals, our manners, our different values that we hold within our culture. Communication also reflects those norms that are established by a group of people. And reflexivity is about considering how communication affects others. So all this being said, so many students are so afraid to take a public speaking class. And sometimes when you're afraid of something, it's the thing that you actually need to do because you're sharpening those skills. But I want you to know that you're not alone. So many people are afraid of public speaking, and it's actually way more common to be nervous than not. And to quote Beyonce, when she says that when she is not afraid going into a performance, she's actually more nervous. Because if she's not afraid, that means she's not in it. Meaning, if we are a little bit nervous for the speeches we're about to give, that means we value it. We care about it. We've worked hard on it. And so we want to present ourselves in really positive ways. So nerves and anxiety is totally normal. And in fact, it's a good thing because that's the extra energy you need to deliver a really strong message. Remember, we are all rooting for you. I love a good pun. Many people fear public speaking more than death, more than sharks or heights or so many different phobias that we can have. But anyone can learn to give an effective presentation. And so take a minute, think about if someone was not watching this video, what would you do to summarize what you've learned today? And think about that as you move on to your next task.